All right, what are you saying, people? It's another episode of the social worker and mentor. Listen, shout out to everybody, who's been following, plugging our work. You know, me and Rob really appreciate the support. Rob has kindly taken himself abroad to Morocco, so I'm here holding down the fort, innit? Do you know what I mean? But big up to Rob. Hope you're enjoying yourself. Like, guys, you've got so much happening, so much stuff coming up. And listen, our Patreon channel, is up and running, So if you want to look at new exclusive content, go onto our Patreon channel. If you want to be a guest, it's thesocialworkerandmentor@gmail.com. Right, people, listen, I think I should be bowing to my man here, Like, you guys should know who this person is. I think I should be bowing to this particular individual here, But listen, introduce yourself, man.
So my name's JP. I'm the mayor of Lambeth.
You see, I just said it so casually. Jermaine, you hear that, So casually. I'm JP, man's the mayor of Lambeth, innit? So casual. Now, big up to the mayor, though. Big up to the mayor. Big up to the mayor. So, JP, I've got so much questions, to ask you. So, how did you get into politics? Like, what was your drive to want to go into politics?
So, I didn't like set out as a little kid wanting to be a politician, wanting to be a prime minister, anything like that. I kind of had like a rough period when I was like 17. My mum passed away, and then I had this mad kind of, not crisis, but feeling of like legacy and loss. It's the first time I'd ever had like a massive amount of loss. Obviously my mum passed. So then I had this big moment of like wanting to do something that made a difference or like left behind a mark so I wouldn't be forgotten. So I went to school next day after my mum died. The world moved on. That's when I really realized like I didn't want to be forgotten, So I just started getting involved in like anything I could, trying to make a difference in the local community. I started doing campaigning, joined this program called Advocacy Academy, teaches you about social justice issues, campaigned on loads of things affecting my community, like housing, youth voices, like youth safety, all of that stuff. And then, to be honest, I got a bit fed up of always talking to someone in a position of power, like always talking to a councillor, always talking to a mayor. And I was like, why isn't there someone like me on the other side of the table? How do I kind of demystify what that black box of the council looks like to normal people? How does that make me a better campaigner? So decided to get involved in 2021, spoke to my local councillor. I was like, I want to be a councillor too. How do I do it? They said the applications are open now, so I can go through the process and manage to get elected for my area, 2022.
And what's your area, bruv?
So Brixton.
Hey, big up to Brixton, man. Big up.
So I'm the councillor for Brixton North as well.
Excellent.
So I represent my own estate and a couple of other estates around me. And then, they managed to get elected as mayor last year.
One of the things, bruv, I want to say, because what you're doing, is so phenomenal. But what I like, from what I see of you, is that you haven't lost yourself. Like it hasn't kind of like got to your head. Like you're still part of the you're still part of the mandem. You're still local.
I have to gas up the chain sometimes.
No, obviously. But I'm saying, but it's kind of nice because you're relatable. So in terms of like when you're out and about, because I see a lot of community work. I mean, people really appreciate that you're authentic.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And the work that you do. Do you feel as though that, because I'd say you're like the youngest mayor, innit?
Oh yeah, so I'm the youngest mayor we've ever had in Lambeth, and I'm the youngest mayor currently in London as well. Yeah.
Imagine that. You see, hey, listen, let's clap again, please. Clap again. And what I like is that you're actually active. You're not just behind the scenes. I see you going out, you're in the community, you're doing a lot of work, you're meeting young people.
But that's the point, right? That's why I wanted to be mayor as well. Is like, how do we inspire young people? How do we show them that they can be in these kind of positions? They don't see someone like me in there that kind of relates to them, dresses like them, talks like them. They're not going to see it for themselves. So have to be out there, have to be trying to do stuff.
What would you say has been your biggest highlight of being the mayor of Lambeth?
Biggest highlight?
Yeah.
To be honest, it's probably going to a school with Captain Conan.
Yeah, talk to me about that, bro.
That was just sick. Like that was quite a random one as well. I got invited to go as a guest speaker to like an inspirational talk to some of the young people about mindset. And Captain Conan were also going to be there. So it's not like I brought them there, but it was like at the same time we were going to be there trying to engage young people, showing them a different way and how they can achieve big things. So that was it was a really cool day, and I'm a fan. So
that's really, really good, and
nice.
I think also as well, what I like is that as well as the stuff that you're doing on the ground, you go into the political spaces. So do you feel like being the youngest mayor, do you feel there's any kind of pressure on you when you go into those spaces? Or do you feel actually, you know what, I can just be myself and I'm just going to talk the real in terms of the actual issues, in terms of what's happening in terms of my borough?
I think it's like both. So there's sometimes I feel like no pressure because like, what have I got to lose? And I know my if as long as you're yourself, you're not playing up to anything,
Yeah.
then you can never really feel pressure because you're being authentic, you're being true to yourself. No one can question your experience. So that's a big part of it. But at the same time, being mayor is a very short period. You only get
How
a
long's
year.
the term?
So you only get a year as mayor.
Okay.
And so that's not a long time to do a lot of like really good work. And so I feel pressure in the sense that it's not often you see people from my community in these kind of positions.
Yeah.
So trying to get the most out of it and do the most good you can in such a short period of time. I feel that kind of pressure of responsibility to do something with it.
And with that, what would you say have been your biggest achievement? Because obviously, as you said, you've only got a year. What's been your biggest achievements of being a mayor for Lambeth?
Legacy question. That's a big
Yeah,
question.
man. Because, bro, it's about legacy, innit? And as you
Yeah.
said, bro, this is about. I remember one thing. Sorry, when I remember, I think when I saw you on Instagram, and I think you mentioned about you're the youngest mayor, and it's about legacy. So, what would you say is your biggest achievement, and what would you want to pass on to the next generation or the next mayor who's going to come in?
I think there's a few achievements. I think there's one, even like a small one. It feels small, but I think it has a big impact. Is I went to the community centre where I grew up on my estate in Stockwell. I went there as mayor. But I was in the chains, but I was just in my trackie and jeans.
Yeah.
And then a kid came up to me and he was like, "You're not the mayor." I was like, "What do you mean? I'm wearing the chain, bro. Who do you think I am?" And he was like, "No, you can't be the mayor. The mayor wouldn't be in a place like this.
Okay.
And the mayor doesn't dress like you."
Right.
So then I was like, "Bro, I grew up on this estate." And I told him to Google me. And I was like, having a debate with him for ages. He didn't believe me. Him and his friend didn't believe me. He was only like, I think like 13. But they Googled me. And then after they realized that I actually was the mayor and I'm from here, I had to tell them like, you lot are important. Why wouldn't the mayor be here for you?
Yeah.
And so that kind of, even though it's like a small act because it's only one or two individuals at a time, I think that's a massive impact. So that's a bit of legacy, is just trying to change each individual young person's idea about their identity and who they can be. So yeah, I think that's it. But time will tell how effective that is.
Yeah.
I'm 28, just turned 28. So I'm not even that young. So if I can inspire another young person to break my record as youngest mayor, then I'll have won.
That's wicked, man. And with what you were saying, I do want to jump on the back of that because I think it's important that young people see young people
100%.
in areas or spaces. And I think you're an inspiration to a lot of young people to be like, you know, actually, I can be a mayor. I can be in this space. And I think what you're doing is fantastic. One of the things I did want to ask you also on top of is that across London, there are a lot of issues with serious youth violence. How have you kind of tried to kind of tackle that in your position? You know, what is it when you're speaking to the young people? What is it you're seeing? How have you tried to kind of say to them, you know, actually, look, as mayor for where I am in Lambeth, you know, it's a big issue. I don't want more young people dying. What have you tried to do in your position to try and change that where you can?
Yeah, so as mayor, my role is a civic role. So I'm not in charge of like the policy side of things. That's we have a really great cabinet member in Lambeth called Councillor Hashi. He's doing a lot of really good work on this, but I help support him in some of the stuff. So using my position as mayor to try and, one, obviously inspire young people.
Yeah.
But two, is like leverage opportunities for young people as well.
Yeah.
So created relationships with other organisations. Like there's one called College of Esports. So they're based in East London, but they're going to be doing a lot of stuff in Lambeth. We got a big fundraiser for my charities that I support as mayor.
Okay.
And
what are the charities you support?
So they're YPM, which is Young People Matter, based in Stockwell. And the other one is Brixton Street Gym.
Oh yeah, I know what it is.
Yeah, and so the Street Gym do a lot of work, like holistically around the community, not just physical but mental health as well, and support. So all of these charities are doing a lot of work trying to tackle these kind of issues.
Yeah.
But for me, I think a big way of tackling it is around opportunity. I think if young people have opportunities, they see the options and the pathways that are out there for them.
Yeah.
And they have a kind of guide on how to get from where they are to where they want to be. They're less likely to get sucked into all these other things that are going on because they have an alternative.
Yeah.
So it needs to be a viable alternative. It needs to be rewarded now. It can't be something, if you work hard enough in 10 years, you can get somewhere. We need to give them hope. So the College of Esports one, we've got a big charity tournament coming up. They're going to be giving away like scholarships for the college, and there's like a whole industry of opportunities behind that in the esports industry. And then, I think it's mainly about opportunities. That we've been working a lot with the skating community as well.
Okay.
So I can't skate. I'm gonna learn. But there's these guys who, guys and girls group, who have been doing like roller skating, rollerblading, I don't know what the correct term is, isn't it? I'm a bit out of the loop, but they've taken over a space in Lambeth,
Yeah.
and so we're gonna help support them. They've built an amazing community, so we're gonna try and help support them somehow. Maybe giving them some funding as well and create structures around them to safeguard them, so they can continue thriving and doing like kind of wholesome stuff that they want to do, which is like engaging as a community.
Yeah. What I wanted to also ask you, JP, is, bro, I know we've got short amount of time.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
Bro, what are the benefits of being mayor? Do you get like a discount on the bus or something like that? Do you know what I'm saying?
You know, I actually don't get anything like that.
No discount, nothing at all.
Nah, I mean, as a Lambeth employee, there are some shops in Brixton might give you around 10% on your lunch, but that's not me as mayor.
Yeah,
that's just as a Lambeth employee. So I
don't
get
aside
any...
from that, so if you walk around with that, and you go to like KFC, you can't get like a meal for free or something. Or,
more time people ask me to buy them something.
Is it?
They think the chain means I'm rich. I had a lot of people come up to me like, bro, like little kids, especially when I go to primary schools and visit them. They always ask me, do you live in a mansion? I'm like, no, bro, I live in an estate. I went to a primary school next to my estate. Yeah. And the kids assumed I live in a palace. I said, nah, bro, I live in the same block as you. I've seen you. You're my neighbor. So like they don't get it. So yeah, as mayor, there's not a lot of actual perks. I get there's some small stuff. Like obviously I get the chain, which is cool. I think comes with a lot of attention. Sometimes that's good, sometimes that's bad. But also I get taken. Luckily, I get taken to events as mayor as well. Yeah. So I have a support officer who drives me to where I need to be, which is quite cool because someone from my background, to be saying that you'll have someone that can drive you to work or to the events you need to go to when I carry the chain is unheard of. So that's a big I get excited about that.
And I want to ask JP, with what you're saying about being, because you mentioned a lot about you still live on the estate that you grew up on. How important is it for you to be visible? Because I think one of the things that often we hear from a lot of people, particularly anybody who's any kind of position of power, that they're not visible, we can't have access to them. How important is that being for you as being a mayor, that actually I'm not just a mayor, I'm not just wearing the gold chain, but actually I'm out there, I'm engaged with the community. How important is that for you as the mayor?
Massively. I think that's what we're meant to be for, right? We're meant to be for the community, to help represent their views, support them. And it's been a bit challenging at times though, because literally sometimes when Roland comes to pick me up outside my house when we're going somewhere important, sometimes I have to put the robe on literally outside my block, so people can see that the mayor is getting ready outside, right? Which is a lot. It's nice though. Sometimes like, bro, what's this? Yeah, like people ask me if I'm a judge. I'm like, because the robe is big red. I'm like, nah, bro, I'm the mayor of Lambeth. They're like, what? Oh, that's sick, bro. Hold on. But then I also get some people knocking on my door in the middle of the night with issues, and so those kind of boundaries, because I'm so visible and so accessible, is difficult to try and. But obviously, someone has an issue, I still want to help them. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, there's some challenges, but it's good. It's important.
So what does your day look like? Say like Monday's coming up, or what is your week? What does your week look like as them? Because bruv, you must be chock-a-block.
Yeah,
your emails must be rammed.
Yeah, it's a lot. I'm not gonna lie. So that's also why I think low key, it only being a year is probably manageable. Yeah. If it was more than a year, I think you'll burn out like crazy. I've been ill a couple of times this year just because it's so full on. Yeah. There's times we go weeks without any days off. No. And sometimes we get like 3 or 4 weeks in a row. We don't even have a single day. Weekends are working as well. Sometimes like 12, 13, 14-hour days. Wow. But it's just back to back. It's like meetings, events, very public facing, like pictures, speeches. Yeah. It can be quite intense. Yeah. But so no day is like similar to any other day.
Nothing at all.
Nah. The only regular thing we have in the diary is every 2 weeks on a Tuesday, we do loads of citizenship ceremonies. Okay. That's why I get the privilege of awarding certificates of like naturalization. People become British citizens in Lambeth. So that's a really fun day. It's quite a long day. We do 4 big ceremonies. There's like 30 people in each one. But that's a lot of people have a long journey. They've been on to become a British citizen. So that's quite like a, it's a nice, rewarding, emotional day for a lot of people.
In terms of JP, your legacy, because you said, and I think it's just, I was saying to Jermaine that I think it's so fitting because literally, when me and you were talking, you were saying you're due to finish very soon. So I think it's so fitting that we managed to literally film. We've got the mayor with filming now. So in terms of your legacy, what is the legacy that you want to leave when you actually finish? So you finish your year term. Obviously you'll go about your business, but what's the legacy you want to leave?
So I want to just inspire young people. I want them to understand that they can be in these kind of positions. No one has a God-given right to be in any position.
Yeah.
Like, we look at people, we put them on a pedestal. Oh, this is an important person. And then with that comes like imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
So I want people to understand that no matter where you come from, no matter what your background is, you can be in these positions. I'm someone that dropped out of uni. I'm someone that repeated year at sixth form.
Yeah.
Like, my journey's been unorthodox, and I still managed to be the youngest ever.
Yeah.
So like, no matter what your background is or where you come from, you can be somebody important. You can be in a position of power, and you can achieve whatever you want to achieve.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that kind of message, and if young people really do believe that in themselves, then yeah, I think I've done a good job.
When you first became mayor,
Yeah.
like when you found out you were elected, what was that day like for you?
So
Because I remember I saw you with all your brethren outside the Ritzy.
Yeah, the Ritzy. Yeah.
What was it like that day? Tell me about that day. You're like, I'm mayor now.
To be honest, yeah, that day was stress, because I think there was a big build up to it, so I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
But it's crazy. Like, it didn't really sink in for a while. Like a good week or two later, that's when it really settled, because everyone was just moving so fast. I think the big moment for me, that really felt different was when I walked into the way the election works when you become mayor. The ceremony is you walk into the council chamber, and when you walk in for the first time as mayor, I had to go to the mayor's parlor, which is like the office. The previous mayor put the chain on me.
Okay.
I took his robe off, put it on me. There's a whole exchanging moment.
Yeah.
And then walking back out into the chamber and seeing family, all my friends in the public gallery.
Yeah.
And just everyone just cheering and going crazy was it was mad. I'm not gonna lie, I don't think I'm that shy, but I didn't feel big in that moment. I felt really overwhelmed in terms of how many people were there and the love I was getting. So it was a crazy day. It was very, very cool. I felt very emotional as well.
And you get JP, because I think as a social worker, I get supervision and everything, and I've got a mentor as well.
Yeah.
On your journey, have you had, whilst you've been mayor, somebody to kind of mentor you, and you have one-to-one with, just to kind of give you guidance as your role? Or is it that I have to do the role how I think I can do it best?
Yeah, it's kind of almost like a freestyle, but luckily I have so there's not anyone directly that's been mentoring me as a mayor or as a previous mayor. There are some previous mayors around, so I've been leaning on them when I need to, just ask them a quick question. What would you do in this situation? I've got a very good support network in terms of Councillor Hashi, who I mentioned before.
Yeah.
He's a bit older than me, but he's from the same background as me in terms of our community. Both grew up in the same area.
Yeah.
So he's someone that I lean on a lot as well. So there's not really anybody that's been guiding me on a one-to-one.
Yeah.
But I think that's also because I'm so different compared to other mayors.
Yeah.
So I'm the youngest we've had, and a lot of what I do is social media based.
Yeah, so because a lot of mayors are not, but you're active. Yeah.
So they're active in their own way, and I think each mayor, the beauty of it is that they all put their own spin on things. So that the next mayor coming in, he's gonna be 89. I think around 89.
Okay.
So he's gonna be the oldest mayor we've ever had.
Right.
And he's over 60 years older than me. Yeah. So I can't really mentor him too much. I can give him advice on things.
Yeah.
And what I experienced. If he has questions, I'll be happy to answer them. But he's going to put his own flavour on what it means to be mayor, how to represent the borough and the people that, the causes he cares about. So, yeah.
And what's been your most challenging time as a mayor? I know you mentioned earlier about the boundaries, but what's been your most toughest thing you've had to deal with?
I think it was media scrutiny,
Yeah, talk to me about that. Go on.
So, I made a comment in December on TikTok, on DJ AG.
Yeah.
Which was he asked me what was the perks of being mayor. So when you asked me that question, I was a bit I don't know how to answer it in the same way. I was a bit nervous,
Yeah.
I mentioned the gold chain, and I mentioned that obviously someone from my background, it's cool to get driven in a car to events. It's only a work thing.
Yeah.
I don't get to go Tesco in it.
Yeah.
But if I'm going somewhere with the chain, I have to be in the car, right?
Yeah.
So I mentioned, it's cool I get driven around in a car too. And then Daily Mail, Telegraph, Times, GB News, all of that were just coming from me, bro.
How did you deal with that though?
I think it was difficult as well because they were saying like I had a limo and I was bragging and I'm an out of touch politician.
And I can tell you guys right now, my man ain't got a limo, you know.
Bro, it's not a limo.
Yeah, it's not.
It's a
like,
it's a Volkswagen Passat.
Yeah, because he's driven here in a Volkswagen Passat today, isn't it? Literally.
Like obviously it's a nice car, like
Yeah.
but it's not anything like crazy extravagant, and it's literally functional.
Yeah.
Like I just have so many things on across the borough, sometimes across different parts of London. I can't jump on the bus.
Yeah,
I can't jump on a bike with the chain and stuff.
Yeah.
It's really functional, but yeah, they were just saying I was like an out of touch mayor. But also when I was talking about it on the TikTok, it was like I was genuinely just trying to gas it up a little bit because young people are going to be watching that. If I say, oh, what's it like being mayor? I say, oh, well, you know, lots of work, random events.
Yeah.
It's not inspiring no one. If I say,
not,
oh, it's lit, I get a chain and I get to go in a car. Young people who are from my background, some of them won't have cars, know people that have cars because, you know, we're a working class community.
Yeah.
That's going to blow their minds that that's possible. So, you know, I think that message got missed a little bit and then loads of people just ran with it and it was a bit toxic for a little while.
Yeah, which is not really good because in fact, I would say from the work that you do, you're actually very in touch with your community and with the people.
So they were painting me with like a crazy, like people don't know me, right? So it's easy to just paint someone as a certain type of way.
Yeah.
If enough people don't know who you are, what your background is. So they were like saying, another silver spoon politician.
And it's not even
rich,
that.
blah, blah, blah.
And it's not even that at all. Yeah, because I remember even listening to you and I see what you do and you've always the ethos, JP, from how I've kind of seen, has always been that I'm from the ends and giving back to the ends.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
That's the idea.
Like that's the idea. I'm from the ends, giving back to the ends, but also as well, young people, you can be where I'm at. So I think sometimes, from what I was seeing, it was kind of twisted the wrong way, really. But overcoming that, did you clap back? Did you say, no, it's not the case?
I wanted to. I got invited onto GB News.
Yeah.
I wanted to go on. I was advised against it.
Yeah.
I had people chatting rubbish in my Instagram comments, all this stuff. I had a guy, I'm not going to out who it is. I don't even remember his name. He was in my Insta comments and he was like talking about parking charges and comparing it to my thing with the car.
Yeah.
And having a go. Then I looked at his Insta.
Was it a burn account?
No, it's his real Insta.
Oh, it's real.
Well, he's not from Lambeth.
Yeah.
Not from London.
Yeah.
He's from somewhere in like, I can't remember where it was. I don't want to sound like some Shire somewhere. I can't remember. It said Shire at the end of where he's from.
Yeah.
Bro, my mum was at the Polo. His dad was a QC judge, which means I think he's one of the most senior judges in the country.
Yeah.
Put there by like the Queen at the time.
Yeah.
This guy comes from mad privilege.
Yeah.
Was literally one of his videos was like him at the Polo, all of this stuff, and he was trying to get onto me about talking about my experience and what I do at work.
Yeah.
And it's like, come on, man.
But do you still, JP?
I wanted to cuss him out. Obviously, I can't.
But do you still, JP, still get does that judgment still happen with you where people are like, yeah, you come from money and this and this and this and this and this?
A little bit, but
even now.
I think as soon as I open my mouth, that disappears. But I think there's like an impression immediately like, oh, you're in this position. You must have been, and you're young, so you must have been like set on this industry plant. Yeah, you know what I mean, but it's not like that.
It's not even like that at all.
Nah.
Yeah, and I think that's why people like having JP here is good for you to be able to see what he's saying, that his own experiences, what he's went through, he's actually given back, and that you can't really go and judge a book by its cover. Look at the good work that he's actually doing. Do you know what I mean? I think JP wants to do your credit to Lambeth and your credit to the whole of London. I just love the fact that, like I said, I've seen you, like literally, you're out on the ends, you're with rap artists, you're with the community. Like I think recently, did you install a basketball recently?
Yeah.
Like a hoop in it the other day, innit? Yeah.
So there's a campaign with London Sport. It's like it's called more ball games.
Yeah.
So you know there's like the no ball games.
Yeah.
So so it's basically, it's about trying to make spaces and people's estates a bit more accessible for ball games, building the community for young people. So Lambeth is one of the pioneering boroughs, I guess, that kind of helped launch this.
Yeah.
So we're part of that campaign. So we're taking away the no ball game signs in lots of different places.
Yeah.
Trying to make it, installing basketball hoops, just having the community be able to access their own spaces and not feel it's not for them. So it's exciting. It was fun. There was like London Lions were involved.
Yeah.
London Sport. A couple Love Islanders were there.
Yeah, I saw the Instagram. No, it's wicked. Once you finish your role as mayor, what do you plan to do next? Have you thought about it?
I mean, if I hadn't, that would be bad. It's like a month left. I thought about it. I think as long as I can, as cheesy as it sounds, as long as I can keep making a positive contribution, as long as I can keep speaking up for young people or empowering young people to take a more active part of society and create opportunities for them, then I'm happy. Exactly what that looks like right now, I'm not 100% sure. There's a few different options on the table.
Yep.
But I've learned a lot over my time as mayor, and obviously I have a lot of experience in terms of campaigning and organising. So yeah, I'm not really sure exactly yet. I'm excited to put it to use though.
Yeah.
And I think I'm going to be taking a more like specific policy focus as well within the council. So that'll be quite good as well.
And also, just to say, congratulations as well. You got engaged. Yeah. Congratulations as well. When's the wedding? Or you still?
I think we
timing, innit?
Yeah, we said like next year. But bro, these things are expensive.
And bro, yeah, it's not easy, you know.
Yeah. Do you know what's funny? Yeah, is when my girl was kind of onto me for a little while. Not onto me. That sounds bad. I like toying with her a little bit about the engagement, innit?
Yeah.
She wasn't sure it was coming. We've been together for a long while.
Yeah.
And I kept saying, yeah, we'll get one day. And she was like stressed a little bit, yeah. And then I thought, once I finally proposed, we've kind of reached that next threshold. We've reached a level, we're calm now. We can relax for a little bit. We can enjoy being engaged. Then in a few months, we'll start thinking about planning weddings.
Yeah.
Bro, I proposed on the 28th. The 29th, there was an Excel spreadsheet.
Already?
She was on it. There was guest list, there was venues, there was blah, blah. I was like, I didn't realize I'd open up a whole body of work. It's been fun though. But yeah, I don't know yet. It's money. We need to work out what we want. Small, big. I don't know idea what's going on.
How does she take actually you being the mayor? Actually,
I didn't
even ask that question. Yeah. How does she take you being the mayor?
Obviously she's very proud. I think the timing just makes it a little bit difficult at times. I'm so busy all the time, so I feel a bit sorry for her. Maybe she is actually kind of happy sometimes. Maybe I'm not bothering her too much at home. But no, I think she's really proud. But I think she worries a little bit about like the publicity. Yeah. Especially when people knock on our door.
Yeah. I was gonna say that because I think one thing about being the mayor or any kind of political position is that you are in the public eye. So is it a kind of thing, JP, where like every time you go in the public eye, I've got to be like, right, I've got to check myself on this, check myself on that. Like, how do you prepare for any event you go to? Like so you've got an event, you're going to speak on it, or you're going out in public. How do you prepare, set yourself up for the day? Big question though, but do you know what I mean? Yeah.
I think it depends on so luckily I have a wonderful support team who help me with like my diary and like help me prep a little, like brief me on the event. So when you invite me to an event, normally you fill out a form. It says a little bit about what we've got to do, what to expect, who's going to be there and stuff like that. So that helps me prep. And to be honest, I hadn't really put too much thought into the reaction to how I am at an event until after December, which was when the whole media stuff happened. And I think that was a big moment when I was like, I need to really carefully think about optics and how I'm perceived, because obviously perception is very important, is massive, and people can take it the wrong way and run a crazy narrative on you.
And you know, JP, like with what you were saying about it, I mean, do you get, as a mayor, media training?
Nah.
Not at all?
Nah, I don't know if I've come across media training right now, but...
No, you're wicked, bro. No, but I'm just saying because I'm just trying to think, because it's like... it's what I'm trying to say is that, like, so is it that your team, do they brief you and say, okay, JP, right, so you know how you're going to speak at this event, like maybe you touch on this but don't touch on that? Nothing at all.
No. I don't get any of that kind of support. So I just have to. It's more like
it's what comes from you.
This is an event, and the people who invite me to the event will fill out maybe some info about what the event is. If they do that, great. Sometimes they don't even do that.
Not at all.
No, not really, which is very bad. So please, if you invite me to an event, please fill out the form. It's important. But then I just kind of go with the flow, like what I feel about something. So it's all very raw. Or like, maybe I'll do some research in the background about the event or the organization or whatever it might be. And I just kind of have to work it out for myself.
But JP, do you not think, like, even with that, I think it's great that you're doing everything on your own and working out for yourself. But do you not think that, do you feel that there should be a bit more support for any mayor?
Yeah. I think it works differently in different places and different positions. I think maybe some people do get that support. but I think I wouldn't necessarily like to be told what to say or how to
Yeah.
act at a certain thing, because I think it feels more authentic and more real when it comes
Yeah.
from me directly. So I'm also kind of grateful that I have that kind of freedom to express. Yeah.
And how have your like your friend? How did your friends adjust to you as well?
Nah, they were gas as well. Do you know,
Yeah.
they ask me silly things though sometimes, man.
What did they ask you?
Like, "Alright, bro, can you just pattern us something?" Like, I'm like, no, bro. What
Yeah.
do you mean?
Yeah.
But it's funny. Like, one of my friends, I got him to come to my office. Just like, I think he wasn't working that day, and I had like some free time in the day. I was like, I'll come through. This was just after I became mayor.
Yeah.
He came in and he picked something up, and then I was, what did I say? I said something like, "Oh, grab that from over there." He's like, "Are we allowed?" I was like, "What do you mean, are we allowed, bro? I'm the mayor. Pick it up."
Yeah, pick it up.
It's fine, bro. Like, you're fine.
Yeah.
And I think there's that adjustment of like, I'm the mayor. I'm not
Yeah.
just like, do you know what I mean? Like, it sounds mad, but realizing that somebody you know is in this position of power or this position of influence, and actually, I'm the first citizen of Lambeth, so I'm technically, not me saying it, the most important person in the borough.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Yeah.
And so, like, for that kind of mindset shift in what we can and can't do, what we're allowed to do, or how to perceive, you know, we're used to kind of being in kind of not really a school mindset, but like, have to ask permission, might get in trouble.
Yeah.
The little things in and around the town hall. It's like, nah, we can walk
do
through that room.
yeah.
That's fine. You can walk through that building, that door. That's fine.
Yeah. So with what you were saying about that position of power, did you kind of feel as though that actually you needed to change? Did you feel like as soon as I become mayor, I've had to change? Because I don't think, from what I've seen with you, you've been who you've been.
No, I don't think I needed to change. I think anyone in these kind of positions should be their true selves. I think if you change, then you're kind of defeating the point of being here, right?
Yeah.
I got into this position because I wanted to make a positive impact, wanted to inspire people, be my true self. So I haven't changed at all, which is important.
No, which is good. And I think it's good that you've remained yourself. I want to ask you, this is quite a deep question. So at the beginning, when me and you were speaking, you mentioned how, you know, your mum, you know, passed away when you were 17. What was that like for you at that age? 17, going to be 18, your mum passing away, and we know she's so proud of you for what you're doing. But how was that for you? I know it's deep, innit? Yeah.
I think it was mad. It was just a few days after my 17th birthday. It was in a hospice in Clapham, Trinity Hospice. She'd been ill for a while. She had cancer. I don't know really. I don't think I've ever really processed it properly, if I'm honest. I never went to counselling after. My dad then struggled for a long time as well. So he got, he kind of descended into like really heavy drinking, all of this stuff. So it was quite toxic at home for a little while, for a long time actually. And that was a big part of my support system just gone. I had my grandparents as well, who've also since passed away and stuff. But I'm not gonna lie, I was with my girl at the time, same girl from now. So I actually leaned quite heavily on her and friends, and just like, I think I kind of displaced a lot of that stuff. And just threw myself into chilling with friends and my girl, and didn't really focus too much on any of that. But I went off, I wouldn't say off the rails, but stopped attending sixth form, failed, like obviously didn't attend, so failed my subjects, ended up repeating the year. But then that ended up being like such a big blessing, because what I was studying before was it's like PE, biology and psychology at A level, because I wanted to be a physiotherapist. But then when I repeated that year, and I had this whole like, I guess, thought process over that year about wanting to do something that made a difference, then I picked up economics instead, as one of my A levels, and I went on to go to uni to study PPE, like philosophy, politics, economics. And that sixth form, that whole extra year gave me time to work out what I really wanted to do, what I was actually passionate about. Because my whole thing was, I'm an Arsenal fan, I'm a massive football fan. I just want to be involved in sport. But then that gave me the little, that time to be like, actually, I feel like I have a purpose. I want to do something like this. And then, it gave me time to do that. So I feel like everything happens for a reason. I'm a big believer in that. And I definitely wouldn't be here where I am today, not chatting to you, as mayor, if it wasn't for like what happened.
And
So,
just to say, JP, I mean, based on what you were saying as well, I know you also talk a lot about mental health.
yeah.
You talk a lot about what I've seen in terms of mental health services for young people. I guess that's quite a big thing that
Yeah.
I've seen for you in terms of your campaigning. Do you feel there's enough support in the borough for young people in terms of their mental health? I mean, I'm a social worker. I've worked with so many young people experience mental health, but it's something that I've seen you're quite strong on.
Yeah. So I think there's a lot of really good organizations and people who are trying to do a lot around mental health. But I think there's nowhere near enough just generally across the board for young people. I think mental health is like something that's it's still taboo in a lot of ways. It's still like, I feel like people don't want to engage with it. I think like it's like a hot topic right now. A lot
Yeah,
of,
it is. Yeah.
like, you know, without getting too political, I think there's a lot of like narratives about mental health being kind of like an excuse for things, or it's not like a real problem.
Yeah.
And the impact it has on people doesn't, I saw it compared to what like people using it as an excuse, like back pain for work and stuff like that, which I think is wrong. I think mental health is massive. Like it should be taken just as importantly, if not more, than as physical health and the impact that has on people. I think young people especially struggle, and I think that especially during teenage years, that kind of period of transition, things are so uncertain. There's so much going on right now on social media.
Yeah, there is.
Toxic influences with certain influencers and stuff, without naming names. I think it's a scary time for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And so we really do need a lot more support for young people to be able to just engage with these kind of topics without it feeling cringy or awkward to get into, or young people don't like feeling vulnerable. So it's difficult for them to open up. So I think there's just so much more that can be done, and there's loads of good organizations that are kind of doing things in and around in this space. So just have to support them as much as we can.
So when you speak to the young people, you've gone on the ends, you go and speak to the young people. What are the issues within the borough, but also across London, in terms of what they're saying to you? Like, if they said to you, JP, look, as mayor, I want you to try and do this and try and do that, what have they kind of said to you when you've spoken to them, the young people?
Yeah, so there's not like policy specific stuff, but they'll say stuff like they always talk about opportunities. They always talk about, it's the way they frame it is like, "Rah, bro, I just want to be rich. I want to make money."
Yeah.
But obviously that's coming from a place of they want money because they want to support their family. So when you actually end up digging deeper into that conversation, so it's like, how do we provide opportunities for our young people? It's obviously, like you mentioned, about youth safety as well. A lot of people feel we have great organizations that do work in one part of Lambeth. They can't get kids and engage with kids from another part because they can't travel.
Yeah.
So there's like, how do we cross those barriers? How do we build a community where people feel safe within their space and stuff like that, and be able to move around freely?
Yeah.
So those are kind of just like on the ground issues that we have, and because
it is quite sad, because Lambeth is such a wonderful borough, but I know JP's got a lot of challenges. I mean, recently we've seen there's been a lot of there's a young person who was killed in Stockwell recently, and is what you were saying just a minute ago about trying to get young people, regardless of any kind of issues, to come kind of together. Have you gone to like different, and I assume you obviously have, but gone to different parts of the borough and speaking to young people about, listen, let's just try and come together. How important is that for you? And
I think it's massively important, but I think it would be weird if it was me just going there and saying, "Oh, you lot need to just chat to them lot and squash whatever you lot got going on, be friends." I think it's really important to support the organization kind of working on the ground already there, have the relationships. And so like a lot of it is like trying to do trauma-informed practices, which obviously it goes back to mental health, but there's so much trauma in the community that people don't even realize is trauma. That you become so desensitized. Like, I've grown up seeing mad things happen in and around my estate. We've all seen crazy stuff, and it wasn't until I got older and my girl would say, "Oh, I saw this, something crazy happened," and I'm like, "Oh, no, it's not that deep." And I tell her, "Oh, I've seen this and that." And then she's like, "What? That's not normal."
Become desensitized, isn't it?
Yeah, fully desensitized. Even when I first became a counsellor, someone tried to report something to me about something going on in the park, and it took me like until they reported it and then talking to them about it that it clicked in my head, like, rah, that's actually not normal. And this is even me as a counsellor. I'm like, oh yeah, I need to probably try to do something about that because I've become desensitized myself. So there's so many of these things that we need to talk to our young people about and use trauma-informed practices to
Absolutely.
try and unpack some of that stuff which they've become desensitized, they've buried away,
Yeah.
and that will help, hopefully, in the long term, kind of build those bridges in communities.
So in a way, your ethics and your values and how you started to see things started to change.
Yeah, definitely. But it's more so like the self-awareness of realizing that I was desensitized, because you don't know unless someone points it out to you.
The thing is, JP, you're right, because even in this job, bro, as a social worker, I've done this job it's my 11th year. And bro, I'll tell you, it's mad because I've seen so much as a social worker that the job makes you desensitized.
Yeah.
It's so mad. Like, you might get a referral. And
how does that make you feel, though?
To be honest with you, bro, it's sad, really, because like, I'm not saying I'm not desensitized, but I'm saying that there was times where I was like, I get a referral, right? Okay, cool, and it shouldn't. Like, I've seen so much cases. Like, I've had a young person stabbed on my caseload. I've gone as a social worker to a trap house to go and get a young person out of a trap house. Yeah, bro, it's a lot. That's heavy. But then because you deal with it every day, it's almost so normal. But then it's not right that as a social worker, I'm like, yeah, it's just this is a case that I'm dealing with. But I've worked in so many of these cases. It's actually crazy. Do you know what I mean? In terms of the pressures that we're dealing with, but the fact that it's becoming very normal, which it shouldn't be.
Yeah, it shouldn't be normal. But at the same time, imagine if you had to, every single person you engage with, you were so empathetic, and then you had to carry all that burden every single time. That'd be overwhelming as well. Yeah,
no, it's a lot, JP. And the thing is, I think for me as a social worker, I think the part that, because my job is quite, we get a lot of criticism, but I think people don't realize, and you just said it, that we carry, as a professional, a social worker, carry a lot of trauma. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And I've been trying to say to social workers that we need to actually have a lot of space for ourselves.
Yeah, because who supports you guys? Do you guys get that kind of?
Yeah, so what it is, JP, we get so the last bar I was in, we had an in-house psychologist. There's stuff to do with HR as well, but I don't think we access it enough. And we have supervision, but I don't think we access it enough, because it's like, right, I still have to work this case. Yeah. I've still got more cases that I need to work through. Do you know what I mean? But I think it's a big thing that needs to happen, particularly, with what you were saying about Lambeth. I mean, I've been through Lambeth. As soon as you walk out of Brixton Station, there's a lot that's going on. Yeah. There is a lot. You just have to come out. Yeah. There's a lot that's going on. But it's a brilliant borough. It's got so much diversity. There's so much going for it. Do you know what I mean? But the work that you've done as a mayor, JP, is brilliant. The stuff that you've done, being authentic, being yourself. Young people will be watching this, and just to say that JP is the youngest mayor ever. Yeah. And his own experiences and what he's doing and what he's done as the mayor is testament to young people that actually, if you put your mind to it,